the Astronomical Society does hold a number of public events at the National Space Centre where people come along and look through our telescopes, and we're able to look at very bright objects like the Moon and like Jupiter. But if you wanted to perhaps look at nebulae or galaxies, you would actually need to put a special filter on your telescope, a light pollution filter, and this is added expense, of course. You can get some sort of good results with that, but as I say, it does add to the cost of your equipment.
Ask a professional astronomer, where does British astronomy happen now? Does it happen in Britain? It happens in the Canary Islands, Chile, Hawaii, Australia. Astronomy has been driven out of this country by bad weather and by light pollution. We don't have professional astronomy in Britain anymore, really. I mean, there are some observatories, but they don't do a lot of important, complicated, deep sky work because the telescope simply can't see anything.
Earth, sky.
In the high desert of northern Chile, a new telescope with a revolutionary design is coming online, ready to probe deep into space.
Astronomers call this new telescope ALMA, which is the Spanish word for soul. It'll soon be the world's most powerful telescope.
66 large radio dishes connect together to form ALMA at an altitude of 16,500 feet, about 5,000 meters.
If light's shining into your own eyes, it's hardly helping you. So we end up with a big problem with domestic security lighting. People tend to put up these 500-watt floodlights outside the house because they want to feel safe. There's no study which I've seen that says that domestic security lighting wards off burglars. And in fact, all the studies I have seen have shown that most dwelling house burglaries happen during the day, between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when darkness can't be a factor. So people tend to angle these lights out at about 45 degrees. But the problem is that then means that the light can shine into the eyes of other people. It can shine into people that are using the highway. So it can actually create dangerous glare from other road users. Light can be a nuisance in several different ways. It can either be potentially harmful to human health, or it can just create problems which unfairly fetter and restrict people's enjoyment of their own property. Now, more recently, on this issue of human health, we're seeing that light could actually harm human health in as much as light at night. Well, we're not designed for light at night. We're designed for light during the day and darkness at night. Light at night seems to produce problems with the brain and our circadian rhythms. There's a chemical called melatonin, but that's only produced in the brain at night when it's dark. And research a few years ago showed that people that work night shifts are at a much higher risk of certain forms of cancer. Because melatonin, it seems, is a very powerful antioxidant. And if you're working and you're subjected to a lot of light at night, the brain won't produce this powerful antioxidant.
What we need is an evolution towards good lights. So as the old lights fail, I mean, the average lifetime of a street light is about 30 years. So as the old lights fail, you simply replace them with something better. And, I won't live to see really good lights all over the UK, but if my grandchildren, I haven't got any yet, but if my grandchildren see the stars over towns, fine, it's possible.
Governments around the world, including the United Kingdom, are taking the initiative to help preserve dark skies. They are doing this by encouraging places like national parks to take part in the International Dark Sky Association's Dark Sky Communities concept. This is where areas end up getting accreditation with a dark sky status if they are taking steps to help protect and to restore the quality of the night sky in those areas. These are a really important asset for people who live in cities because it can afford them the opportunity of seeing a quality dark sky at night in a reserve area. In the United Kingdom, Campaign for Dark Skies, an organisation for the British Astronomical Association, runs awareness programmes about light pollution. Light pollution is a global problem. Organisations like the Institute of Lighting Professionals work with the Campaign for Dark Skies and other environmental organisations to ensure the correct use of lighting in the United Kingdom.
In relation to light pollution, for the last 20 years we have published documents
to encourage people to think about light pollution, how they use light, to ensure that, typically the security light you see on the back of your house is directed in the correct direction so that no light goes above the horizontal, but also that it's got the correct wattage lamp in it. Road lighting, for example, we encourage people to think about the lighting they're using, in rural locations, lighting to the requirements and not over lighting. There's no need to light a small village to the standards of a big city centre. So it's using light in the right proportion in the right places.
Personally, I think that we could actually have a dedicated law to addressing light pollution. I think that this would actually roll all of these multifaceted problems caused by light pollution together. So what we could actually do is to have some legislation that actually requires people to light to certain levels, that limits billboard lighting, that limits parking lot lighting, that basically makes areas that are unused switch certain amounts of lighting off, that limits light above the horizontal that otherwise goes into the night sky, that controls lighting that enters areas where ecology exists, so parks and such like. Now there's been certain parts of the world where they've actually got laws like this, so there's quite a lot of regions in Italy. You've got parts of Spain, you've got Slovenia, and you've got the Czech Republic, all of which have attempted some form of control of lighting itself, as opposed to, rather than dealing by the individual sections of lighting which we've got over here in this country, of trying to tackle lighting at the planning stage or trying to tackle lighting that amounts to a nuisance. If you can avoid it in the first place and say you can light under these circumstances, that's the law, that I think would be a tremendous step forward. Light pollution is a global problem, therefore it could do with a global solution. However, what we have got really is a presumption that because light is good, we've got countries that don't really want to control, particularly they don't want to control business, and of course lighting is frequently used by business. They don't want to control the individual because the individual wants lighting for safety and security. This is why I think a lot of countries would not appreciate some form of international control. I think what we are more likely to get are issues where the human rights and human health issues are looked at.
Switching off may not be the most appropriate solution on each occasion. It may be better to lower the lighting level by dimming it, or on the inverse, you could take a town centre where typically, Sunday to Wednesday, it's very quiet in the evenings, but Thursday to Saturday it's very busy. So in those occasions, for the first part of the week you have a lower lighting level in the evenings, in the latter part of the week you have a higher level. So you vary the lighting to suit the application and suit its need.
People, more and more lights. And the trick is not to take away the lights. I mean, we don't want to do that. The whole point of the campaign for Dark Skies is not to take away your lights, it's to make them better, to make them shine where they're needed. And one day in this world there will be good quality lighting, because we can't afford to go on wasting energy. Even if you don't care about the stars, you care about your money, your pockets, and the contents of your wallet. So why should we throw money away into the sky?
Our installing lighting now should be very conscious of what the requirements of that lighting is, where the light is needed, and ensure they take measures to ensure that they don't waste light and they don't let it be transmitted back up into the atmosphere.
According to the campaign for Dark Skies, good lighting should have a cut-off design, that no light is wasted and no light escapes above the horizontal.